A very good morning to you. Welcome to Parenting Tuesday on Jam 316. My name is James Okumu. So, yesterday was D-Day. Schools reopening from 4 class 8, grade 4, going back to school. Very, very interesting. I was sharing earlier on my radio show. I was watching a video this morning on social media. I don't know what school it was, but these girls are here. They're lining up. And there's this gentleman with, I don't know what you call that thing. I don't know whether it's called a knapsack or whatever. That thing you wear on your back to spray, usually to spray animals or to spray plants. And so he had that kind of thing, and the girls were coming up close to him, and he was spraying them all over before they were allowed to go into school. And I was wondering, what is he spraying them with? It looks so uncouth. Is this what we've come to? So, back to school. What are some of the challenges we're experiencing? How can we, is this going to work? How can we make it work? Those are the conversations we want to have today on Parenting Tuesday on both Family TV and Family Radio 316. I've got two wonderful guests who will be joining us shortly as we dig into this discussion. But I would love to hear from you. You know, the problem sometimes is tumezoea kunyamaza sana. One of the things I find about our Kenyan culture, and we talked a bit about this yesterday when we hosted Pastor Wa. You know, from the time we are kids, we are told to shut up. We are there to be seen and not to be heard. And so when we grow up, even into adulthood, we don't speak up. We really don't like ruffling the feathers. Have you ever been in a matatu and the tout is misbehaving, or they've put obscene music and no one is saying anything? Everybody is cringing on their seats, waiting for the first person to act and say something. When one person says something, and then you hear others mumbling, oh yeah, wazima hiyo mziki. And you wonder, you were seated here all along. In fact, I found you in this matatu. Why didn't you say something earlier? We have a very bad culture. We don't like to speak. We don't like to question, especially questioning people in authority. We don't like keeping people in authority accountable. What we are told to do is what we do, and life goes on. Isn't tabia za kiukoloni? And we need to break away from that. We need to be objective. We need to ask questions. It is in asking questions that we grow. And so I want to ask you parents to respond this morning and tell me, did you take your child to school yesterday? If you did, how was day one for them? And number two, if you did not take your child to school, let me know why you did not take your child to school. Your SMSs are coming in via 20316. That's the SMS number. And the WhatsApp number is 0786 316. Did you take your child to school? How was day one for them? If you didn't take your child to school, what were your reasons, even as we engage in this discussion? Welcome to Parenting Tuesday on both TV and radio on Family Media. My name is James Okumu. It's back to school. That's what we are looking at. Children began going back to school yesterday. And we just want to take a look at that scenario and ask ourselves, okay, so what are some key things we need to be aware of and we need to focus on, and what's the way forward? What are some of the challenges? And so I'm asking you parents, did you send your children to school yesterday? Dorcas, you say, my son will go back tomorrow. The school rescheduled the day to Thursday. Thank you for that. And then somebody else says, no, mine is still at home. What about you, Mzazi? This morning, I'm so blessed to hang out once again with Peter Amunga. Peter Amunga was with us last week on the same discussion. Peter Amunga is an education advocate. He has taught in various schools for about 25 years, and he has a passion for education. Peter, good to have you back. Karibu sana.
Yes, hello. I'm happy to be here.
Great, Karibu. Also with us via Zoom, we have Peninnah Barasa, who is a parent, a communication specialist, and a national women's leader for the Movement of Democracy and Growth. Peninnah, Karibu. Peninnah, Karibu. Good morning. How are you today? Great. So let's begin by looking at maybe I can begin with you, Peter. Looking at yesterday, what would your assessment of yesterday be with children going back to school?
Well, of course, anxiety. We saw a lot of anxiety from the learners. Mm-hmm. Teachers were also anxious. Everybody wanted to know what it would look like. And what I liked about it is that Kenyans are resilient. Kenyans are faith-filled people, they have faith that things will work.
Yes.
And they release their children to go to school. And personally, I can say that I think it was a start. It may not be a great start, mm-hmm. but we have started somewhere. And so we are somewhere right now. So we thank God that at least learning has begun. The issue now is the how.
Yeah, yes.
The start has begun, but the how is now going to be what we're going to discuss about.
Okay. What about you, Peninnah? What's your assessment of yesterday?
Okay, in as much as schools reopened yesterday,
Uh-huh.
what I know is that the turnout was so good,
Uh-huh.
considering that most parents do not have money to take their children back
Yeah.
to school. But we're just praying for the best and hoping for the best, considering that the government gave out a directive that no student should be sent back home because of lack of school fees. So let's hope for the best.
Okay. I'm wondering, do you have school going children, and did you release them to go? Peninnah, as a parent, are your children?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh yes, I have a school going child. I only have one son, by the way, and he's 16 years. Currently, he's Form 3. So Form 3s have not yet reopened school, but in case they do, of course, he'll have to go back to school.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So let's look at the. I'm trying to think about the psychological state of our children with all that's going on. Peter, do you think our children are prepared enough psychologically? Because for the last 6 months we've been telling them, stay indoors, stay indoors, stay indoors. It's not good to go outside. You can catch this virus. And now we are telling them it's okay, you can go to school, but we still have the COVID cases being reported every day. What's the psychological state of our children?
Actually, it's quite challenging. One of the teachers was telling me yesterday that one of the issues they had is trying to teach children to be selfish. You know, it's a new normal.
Yes.
They cannot share rubbers, they cannot play together, they cannot share water bottles, they cannot share their lunch. They can't, we are telling them be selfish. And this is a new normal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we seem to be losing you. We seem to be losing you.
We share pencils, we share pens.
We had lost you
but
a
with
bit.
This new normal yesterday and this morning, we are telling children, do not share.
Yes.
Not even your cardigan, your sweater. You cannot share.
Yeah.
And so teaching people to be selfish is one of the things that I've never known in my life as a teacher, as a Christian, as a parent. My children share things. You even share clothes. So
Peter,
this is the new normal, Pastor, that we are waking up to.
Yes, that new normal, Peter, is very interesting because looking at how we are behaving in our churches, the church where I go to, we began meeting 2 weeks ago. And as much as you tell people, don't shake hands, don't hug, the moment people see each other, and these are adults, they've not seen each other for a long time, the first instinct is they hug. They shake hands. So I was just wondering, kama hawa ni adults na wana behave namna hii, what makes us think that our children will be able to abide by all these new normal rules that we are giving them? Peninnah, what do you think?
I think it's not going to be so easy for our kids to adapt to the new normal rules that they're being given. Considering that, these are children. Most of them are children. Look at, for example, the grade 4.
Yes.
Those are kids you cannot control. It's not so easy to control them. Considering that, they like playing around, they like hugging, touching each other.
Yes.
So I don't know how the government is going to go about it. It will be a bit difficult for the teachers to control them.
Wow.
And that is a situation that is a bit worrying.
Very true, very true. Where I live, I live next to a primary school. And so yesterday during the lunch hour, I was at home and I was just observing how these children were behaving. And I realized, first of all, they didn't even have masks on, and because it's lunchtime, they were out there in the field playing, touching one another, standing next to one another. They were basically life as normal. And I was thinking, are we really prepared for this? Peter, have we really, these measures we are putting in place, are they practical? Are we prepared?
This is the truth. We can't really say we are prepared for this. As a nation, we are far from prepared. We are really struggling to be there. Kwame Nkrumah said about Africa, that Africans are like a person late to catch a train. The train has taken off, and we are trying to catch up. We are running towards the train so that we can jump onto it. And that is exactly the scenario I'm seeing in the schools. Actually, some of the pictures that we've been seeing on media, most of them are schools in Nairobi, like what the minister visited yesterday.
Yeah.
At least those ones can try to cope up and, do that. But I saw other clips from Busia, in Kakamega, and Taita, whereby the children don't even have the masks.
Yes.
They actually came to school without a mask. The teacher, one of the clips that I saw last night, the teacher in that classroom, in one of the classrooms in Busia, Kenya, did not have a mask. So we, as I've been a member of the union, so we tried to call and find out why are teachers in Busia, some of them not having masks. And they said some of them can't afford. The few masks they had, they've run out of them. So a teacher to be changing a mask every day is going to be very difficult. Now, that's a teacher. What about the learner in a remote area? Even getting the mask in the morning, like in Nairobi, I can walk out of my house here and I buy a mask on the road here. There are places where I come from, Huisero, wherever, you can name the places. To get a mask, you need to book with a shopkeeper.
What? To
talk to him that, tomorrow I'll need some 5 masks. So that he goes to the nearest bigger market to secure some masks for us. These things are not obvious the way we see them. As we are here in Nairobi, some of these things are very difficult when you go back on the ground. Let me say this. On the ground, things are different. That is the whole truth.
Vitu ni different kwa ground.
Vitu iko tofauti sana kwa ground.
The whole masks issue, I don't know about the both of you, but for me personally, when I put on a mask, I can't put on that mask for more than about 20 minutes because I begin to get headaches. So I put it on, 15 minutes, I remove it, I breathe around a bit, and then I put it on. And so I'm wondering how practical it is for our children to have masks on the whole day. Can that affect their health? I don't know. Peninnah, what do you think?
I tend to agree with what Amunga has said, considering that last week I was in the village and I was really shocked. I went to Kakamega, law courts. If it is law courts or high courts, there's something I was doing there, and I was really surprised that even at the courts, people were not wearing masks, including the court officials. And personally, I've been using my mask most of the times, but I keep removing my masks because at times I'm not able to breathe. So I can imagine what will happen to our small children. I mean, wearing masks for a whole day. I tend to believe, yes, they somehow pose a health risk, considering that, some of these masks we are wearing, like the ones that are locally made using fabric. Someone tends to wear it like probably even a whole month without cleaning it. Can you imagine the kind of dust it accumulates over, over a period of, time? So I wouldn't actually say that it is healthy to wear masks. I want to believe that in the long run, it will pose some health issues to our children. So as for me, I say masks are not something good to wear.
Peter, do you agree or do you think otherwise?
Peninnah is saying the truth. It's not just about wearing masks. We need to thank God, me and you, Pastor and Peninnah, that we don't have even underlying conditions. Maybe we are in the proper age. I know in my school, one of the schools, I'm a board member, I'm a chairman of a board here in a school in Nairobi. And the principal was calling me yesterday and telling me that 3 of his teachers are about 60 years old.
Wow.
And they have conditions. They have underlying conditions. And the principal was telling me, Chairman, what are we going to do about this? Because we can't keep them in school. We can't have them wearing masks every time. Because of the conditions they have and even their advanced age. Well, the ministry has given some guidelines on what should be done, but they are very vague. The guidelines coming from the Teachers Service Commission about what should be done about teachers who have got underlying conditions. And those are teachers Yes, and even age, because teachers, we can teach up to 60 years old. Some of us teach up to 60 something. In private schools, at Sunshine High School, I know of a teacher who is 65, but he's a very good teacher in biochem.
Yes.
But he's 65, going 66. So what I'm saying is this. Yes, we are living in the new norm. But I tend to think the word should be we are living by faith.
Yes.
We are not going to, I think that's the word we are going to start using.
Yeah.
We are not going to depend even on the government or anybody. We're just going to go by faith to those schools and go to class by faith, and those children to learn by faith and hope. You as a parent, you just have to remain in prayer and be hopeful and prayerful that things will work out. But otherwise, what I can say is that we are so exposed in those schools.
Yes.
If COVID-19 can do the damage it did in Europe a few months ago, then this is the time it can really do damage to us, that we have reopened schools. Because in schools, we can't teach those children. Like the small children in grade 4, I was watching them. Honestly, they can't keep on their masks for even 30 minutes. Is not
they can't, yes.
Even if it's not easy.
Yeah.
So they are doing it sometimes just to please the teacher. They put on a mask. Then when a joke is cracked in class, they have to remove the mask and laugh.
Yes.
When one of them says something funny, they have to remove the mask and they laugh and they play. So Pastor James, I can say we are going into this by faith.
By faith, I like that. Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about the whole issue of school fees. I know the CS said mtoto asifukuzwe kwa sababu ya school fees, but I'm just wondering how practical that is. We'll get into that in the next short while. We are talking about issues of going back to school, the challenges, the practicability, solutions, what's the way forward. If you have questions or if you have a comment, please feel free to do so by sending an SMS on 20316, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. In studio with us via Zoom is Peter Munger, an education advocate and has been a teacher for over 25 years, passionate about education. And we also have Peninnah Barasa, a parent, communication specialist and national women's leader for Movement of Democracy and Growth. Your comments coming through on 20316, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. I have a comment here that says, my child has not yet gone back to school due to some inconveniences, but is preparing to go to school. But I'm astonished because my neighbor's child has been sent home due to school fees. I don't know about mine, if also they will be sent home due to school fees. Peter, this whole issue of school fees, I know there was a directive that no child should be sent home because of school fees, but from this parent's message, it seems like that is happening. I don't know what your take on the school fees issue is.
Yes, of course. The minister is doing his work, his best to make sure that he encourages parents to take the children to school. But the truth of the matter is, we as a country must realize that education is expensive.
Yes,
education is not cheap. It comes costly. It's very costly, and our government we all know the situation of our economy. Even the money for free primary and free secondary was released to schools last week on Friday.
Wow.
After we made a lot of noise, advocates in education, some of us Magoha's office to demand that he releases that money. We even wrote letters, petitions, we talked to parliamentarians saying that how are we going to open schools without the money being released?
Yes.
Well, I want to report the money actually has hit schools. My principal at the school where I'm the board chair told me that the money has hit schools accounts, but it's 20% of third term money.
What?
Now, I want to explain this. 20% only, which for primary schools 600 per child. 600 shillings per child for a whole term of 14 weeks.
What?
Now, my friends, that is very little money. You cannot even imagine. Yes, that is the truth. And I have the circular, and I think I'll share with you so that you can put on the website of the family media or family TV, so parents can see. The circular is sent to schools privately, and it tells them we have only released 20% of what we are supposed to have given you. And of this 20%, there was no money catering for the protocols of COVID-19, sanitizers, gun, what we call them, thermal guns, water points. So all these things have to be footed by parents. And that is the thing that the minister rarely will tell people. that as a school, the Parents Teachers Association must come together and look for ways to raise funds to buy thermoguns, put up water points, and even buy masks or sanitize, fumigate schools. Yesterday we saw a very funny clip doing rounds on social media of a school where somebody had come with something like a cattle dip spray, and they were spraying the students, you know.
Yeah.
That is what the school could afford. That is what the school could afford. They can't afford these better ways of doing it. So they decided to get a cattle dip sprayer.
Oh my
a cattle
goodness.
sprayer, you know. And they were spraying the kids with it. And it's a fact. It was happening in one of our schools.
Yes.
So parents, it is you as parents, and it is we as Kenyans to know that this will have to come from our pockets. The minister will tell you that there's no fees to be paid. Don't attempt to send your child to school without ensuring you have paid at least the little money the school is asking you to pay. In most schools here in Nairobi, parents have been asked to foot for fumigation, you know, the cleaning, the sanitizers. Parents have been sent to texts. Actually, this morning we are seeing texts. And if your child doesn't come with it, as teachers, and if I was a principal of a school, I'll send your child home. Because the minister has not given me the money, and I cannot keep your child in a dangerous environment. I'll send your child back to you so that you pay some little money for me to run the school and keep your child safe.
But I'm just wondering, Peter, for them to send 20% of what they should have sent, is it that the money is not available, or what is happening? And considering that children have been home for 6 months, you know, so second term, basically from how we know it, they didn't send any money. Why 20%?
Yes, that is a very good question. Actually, why? That's what we have asked the minister on our write-ups. We have asked him again to explain. But the answers we are getting is that Treasury has no money. Money is not forthcoming. Yesterday, Kahin Dimuli, the chairman of Kenya Heads Association, appeared on one of the local stations and said he appealed to the minister and the president and said, kindly, Bwana Minister, avail more funds for our schools. The 20% you gave us is not enough to pay even the workers. It's not enough to make repairs. It's not enough to even do what we can say social distancing. So all these things, I always tell Kenyans that we have a lot of PR coming from the Ministry of Education just to make Kenyans believe that something is happening. But the truth of the matter is nothing is going on. What is happening there is a lot of encouragement, take your child to school, but the money is not there. You see, Pastor James, why would as government release money one day before schools open?
That's ridiculous.
To schools, one day after pressure, and send only 20%, unless there is other underlying issues in this government that many of us don't understand. And what I tend to think, when we hear stories like our economy is down as a country, when we hear things like we are over borrowing even for us to survive as a country, don't take them lightly. These things are finally coming to haunt us. Free primary education and free secondary school education is one of the things that is going to be affected heavily with the fact that our economy is not doing well. So that's what we can say for now.
Peninnah,
no money is coming forth from the Treasury.
Peninnah, let me rope you into this conversation as a parent, because sometimes I think as parents we are also part of the problem, because we pay our taxes and this is what the government is supposed to do, and when they don't do it, we don't say anything. We just comply with stopgap measures. But Peninnah, what do you think our role is as parents in a situation like this where the government is not doing what it is supposed to be doing and we are in the middle of a pandemic? Peninnah, are you there? Ama, we've lost you. I think we've lost Peninnah. Maybe Peter, you can tell me, because
I can say something about that.
Yeah. What's our role?
You see, and I'm happy this is Parenting Tuesday, because sometimes we need to address parents.
Yes.
As a parent, you need to know you are right. One thing that all of you must realize as parents in this country is that you are paying taxes. You guys, all of us, even when we go to fuel our cars, when we get into a matatu, that matatu has paid tax for you to be in that matatu. A lot of tax, by the way. And apart from that, we have our politicians who make these kind of announcements to us as parents. We listen to them on our media houses when they speak to us in our media houses. And they tell us we are providing for you A, B, C, D. But you see, on the ground, things are different. You as a parent, you need to join up with other parents in things that we call parents teachers associations.
Yes.
In things like even churches, in things like even in women groups, church groups and all that.
Yeah.
And you need to write petitions, you need to write letters, you need to demand from the Ministry of Education, from the PS Education, from the directors of education. Write letters, copy to your school, copy to the ministry, copy even to family media, and ask them, why is my school, why are my children not getting all the money that this government promised?
Yes.
See, the problem is our parents have learned to live with shortcomings.
Yeah.
We make it our norm. But you see, we have now changed into the new norm, new normal.
Yes.
The new normal is accountability, is openness. It is trying to say things as they are and truthfulness. So we need our parents now to start rising up. Now I must say something here, James. When we have the stakeholders meeting, like the ones we had with the minister and at the Kenya Institute of Education, there is somebody who comes there, he says he's the chairman of Kenya Parents Association. Yeah. He's called Nicholas Maiyo. He's a friend of mine. And one of these days when you invite me to this studio, I'll also invite him to appear with me on this show. Yeah. Nicholas Maiyo appears on behalf of parents. And we always ask him, do you really talk on behalf of parents? Why are you not pointing out some of these issues that we are talking about, like not enough money coming? Yeah. And he tells us, parents don't reach out to me, parents don't tell me. Do parents know that there's a national parents association in this country? It seems they don't know. Parents need to join it. Parents need to. There used to be a man called Musao Ndunda. These days when we were growing up, remember a very vocal man who used to say he's the chairman of parents. Yes. He used to go around and ask a lot of questions. Now we are lacking that kind of person. And parents can mobilize through churches, through schools, and come up with a stronger parents association that can demand for their rights. Yes, I actually agree with that. Parents, tuache kulala. You know, as I was saying earlier as we began the show, we have this very bad culture in this country where we don't like to question authority. Tunavumilia tu, tunangangana tu. You know, we just survive. No, we cannot live life like that. If we are paying taxes and if the government has a responsibility and it's not fulfilling its responsibility, you and I are the ones to hold their feet to the fire and ask them, pesa ya shule imeenda wapi? Because I don't think that the money is not there. That money is budgeted for. It's part of the budget. So where is it going to if it's not going back to the schools? I mean, 20%? Are you kidding me? That is ridiculous. Yeah. But parents, what will we say? We will look for money, we will buy the masks, we will send our children to school. In fact, I was thinking about this earlier on, Peter, before we take a break. I was wondering, how many parents actually went to the schools to check if all these things that are supposed to be in place are actually in place for them to release their children to go to school? Ama ulipatia mtoto chai kwa nyumba asubuhi, ukamfungulia mlango ukamwambia haya boy tutaonana jioni. You've never been to the school. Wenda. I mean, that's madness. That's a good question. That's a good question. Yeah. Wazazi, we need to wake up. And that is what's the problem. That our parents, you need to wake up. Yes. We have to wake up. Okay, your thoughts and your comments coming through on 20316. WhatsApp 0786 316 316. Wazazi, are your children back in school? Ama bado unaninginia kwa fence, wondering, okay, let me see how the situation will go. And that's the discussion we're having today. Peter Amunga joining us via Zoom, who is an education advocate, has been a teacher for over 25 years, and lots of passion for education, and also Peninnah Barasa, parent communication specialist and national women leader for the movement of democracy and growth. Your comments coming through on 20316. This one says, I thought the teachers opened fast. Wafanye cleaning na ensuring everything is set. Hey, Kenya, our land. We will always be amazing. Yes, they reported, lakini utaosha kama hakuna maji. Utaosha bila basin, utaosha bila sabuni. That's why tulikuwa tunaona picha hapo wakicheza blada na kati, reminding themselves of how they used to behave when they were little children. You know, I mean, you can't blame them. This one is,
you said you're tuned in from Busia. Orodi, how are you doing? You say parenting is a responsibility many parents take for granted. This COVID-19 thing has brought up the weakness of many parents. I feel reopening of schools has been taken as a relief by many parents, and it's quite unfortunate. That I agree with, and I think that is so true. I don't know what you think about that, Peter, because I find that many parents, let me not say many parents, but some parents were actually relieved. Fungueni shule, watoto waende. And I bet you those are the parents who didn't even take the initiative to go to the school to find out, okay, these measures you're saying you have put in place, wacha nione kabla nirelease mtoto wangu. I don't know what you think, Peter.
Yeah, I agree with you. Actually, parents don't take responsibilities. Most of us, and not just parents. It's a software. It's like we Kenyans are wired in that kind of sorry, we are wired with the kind of feeling like that it's not my work. When we were growing up, you remember we used to hear a public, when you hear something like say a public toilet or something like that, we treat it like we don't care,
Exactly.
We don't imagine that it's something that we need to take care of it, so the next user of the same facility can like it after you have used it. We just think nikitu ya umma, we call it mali ya umma. And this kind of mentality came about during the colonial period. We seem to have been wired with it. So when the colonialists will tell us, do this, we thought they are forcing us to do so. We treated this as something to run away to. Like we became like law breakers to run away from what's supposed to happen. So that is what you're seeing again in the parenting of our children. And some of our cultures, you look at some of our cultures, when some of us went to school, we are able at least to think about how to bring up our children. We are listening to programs like this one called Parenting Tuesday. But we have a large majority of Kenyans who don't have this kind of facilities. They don't know what it means to parent a child. To them, mtoto ni mali ya Mungu. Ukishaza anakuja na sahani yake. There was a song that mtoto anazaliwa anakuja na sahani. So mtoto akishakuja na sahani, to us we leave it to God. Wacha mtoto amee. It's just like a tree in the forest. So going back to just saying something about us and what parents now need to do. What you are saying is very important. Now with this COVID-19, it is us as parents to take responsibility to know where our child is going to school. Do they have water? That is now a responsibility from you as a parent. How are the sanitation facilities? How are the boarding facilities? When you take your child to that boarding school, say Kakamega High School or whatever, as a parent, go in the dorm and find out if they've done spacing in the dorms, so that your child is sleeping at least 1.5 meters. Not what you have been doing, seeing the congestions in the dorms. Ask the teacher, the boarding master. Let him ask the boarding master, Mwalimu, how are the boarding facilities here in the school right now? How are the ablution blocks? How is there water? And what solution can we give? When you start asking questions, somebody said, kuuliza sio ujinga. And also the Bible says words like, knock and it shall be opened. Ask,
and you shall receive.
These are very important words. As a parent, it is important that you learn to knock at the school of where your child goes. It's very important. And don't take it for granted that Magoha in Jogo House or Mr. Munger as the BOM chairman somewhere will take care of your child in that school. You also come out as a parent and participate in ensuring that your child is safe, your child is learning, the environment situation is good for learning. And I think that is important for us as parents.
Very true. I don't know if Peninnah, you're back. Peninnah, are you back? We had lost Peninnah a few minutes ago. Peninnah, can you hear me? Peninnah, can you hear me? I think she's having a problem with her connection. So, Peter, I was thinking, because there's also the rush to finish the syllabus, to get the exams done by sometime early next year and all that. I was just thinking, who says our term needs to begin in January?
That's a good one.
Why can't we change the calendar?
We can also, but we may need a parliamentary approval, because if you go through like our constitution, things like dates, school calendar, even election calendar.
Yeah.
You notice like elections must be done every August.
Yes.
Of the 5th year, the August of the 5th year.
Yes.
That's already in the Constitution. Meaning August must be a holiday, must be a school holiday.
Yeah, okay.
So that because schools are used as polling stations,
yes,
teachers sometimes are used as clerks, you know.
Yeah.
And some of the teachers and parents need to vote. So we need to have a holiday when we have an election.
An election,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so school calendar is actually enshrined in the Constitution. It is something that is well put in the Constitution so that the holidays fall at a certain time.
A certain time, okay.
Like now, August must always just be a time for school holiday so that we can have the election every 5th year.
Okay.
So we can't just change. But that also poses a very good question. We should not cast some of our laws in stone. Like that.
Yes.
That is wrong. It is wrong for us to have this constitution. And that's why sometimes I tend to say that even the BBI needs actually to come, because there are things like those ones that needed to be talked about. We can't have rules like those ones as if, you know, we can't change them, we can't do this, we can't wriggle out.
Yeah.
And that's why countries like Britain have unwritten constitutions, because they are able to change them. They are able to do a lot of things about them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we run out of time, Peter, I'm just wondering about what about the parents who are still reluctant to take their children to school, because they do have valid reasons why they're not releasing their children to go to school. So you have those who've gone to school and you have those who are not going to school. What is the solution? Because we can't continue like that.
Yeah, of course. I think the first thing the parents should do, those who are reluctant, is to pay a visit to the school where your child goes.
Yeah.
Familiarize yourself with that school. And some of these questions you are raising as a parent about the safety of your child are better addressed at the school level.
Okay.
When you go to the school or the institution, you'll be able to be told if there's actually all that kind of masking, or if there is social distancing, if the water points are available. And if you feel unsatisfied, maybe then you can change the school or the learning point where your child learns, or you can adopt now online tools for learning for your child. Actually, I discovered that the ministry is not forcing parents right now to ensure that the children are in school. They're not forcing. Actually, they are. What I have seen, they're trying to encourage parents to take their children to school. The word is now encouragement, that please bring your child to school. And so those who have those questions are valid questions, but what you can do as a parent, visit the school. Don't just raise on social media. Don't just raise, just go there also and see for yourself. Because even teachers, our safety as teachers also is important. We wouldn't want to put ourselves in a dangerous environment.
Very true.
So, even as we are trying to make sure that the schools are safe for us as teachers and for your child as a parent.
Okay.
So, you can trust us and come over and let us have a discussion at the school.
Okay. Finally, there was the whole issue of, during this 7 months children have been at home, we've had a lot of pregnancies, teenage pregnancies, and if I heard the minister correct, he said that even those ones who are pregnant need to go back to school. We will take care of them. And I'm wondering, okay, how practical is that?
That's a great question. How practical is that? Because, they're adding responsibility to teachers.
Yes.
And now I come in as a trade unionist because I've worked with the unions. And I say, that's not fair.
Yes.
Because the minister keeps on saying, even I had one time, NAS Secretary General Sosion say that the teachers will even help the police to identify the people who made these teens pregnant. Now, listen, and parents, please give us a break. Minister, give us a break. As teachers, we are trained professionals. Yes, some of our training involves some guiding and counseling. Some of us actually some of us take an extra course for guiding and, counseling, and some of us take even more courses, maybe in administration. But you see, those are special courses. I went to Kenyatta University to teach Kiswahili, English. No, that's what I trained to teach. So that is what I know. Now, if you tell me to arrest a guy who has made somebody pregnant, you are giving me an extra job. It's not my job description. I will not be able to do it well. And so even this other job is telling us that we need to to take care of those ones who are pregnant, bring back to school. It's a good point. But the ministry has the money.
Yeah.
The ministry can employ professionals who can do that in every school.
Very true.
They only need to attach a professional counselor or a professional person to stay in the school and receive those kind of students, be able to talk to them, and rehabilitate them properly back to the school system. The teacher's responsibility is to teach and go home.
Wow.
Teach and go home.
Teach and go home. Well, I'm out of time. But thank you so much for agreeing to talk to us again, Peter. And Peninnah, I don't know if you're there, but we've had some challenges, but at least we were able to hear something from you. I'm out of time. Thank you so much. I will definitely call on you again, Peter, because this is an ongoing conversation and we need to talk about it. And I think the more we talk about it, the more we create awareness. Tuamshe wazazi, tuache kulala.
Yeah.
Very true. Aya, parents, kazi ni kwetu. Let's not just keep quiet and take everything that's given to us. No. It's time for us to arise. These are our kids. We are talking about their future. If things are not set the way the government is saying they're set, we need to speak up and say, this is not right. Let's hold it. We have the power, my friend. Tusinyamaze tu. And don't be such a parent who is so off tune with what is happening in your children's life. You just want to send them off to school. You're thinking, a relief. This is our children's future. Well, let me not start preaching. My time is up for this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of Parenting Tuesday.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.